So I tried something over the weekend on my birthday actually with my makeup, and it was a new technique. Well, it's not really new, but it's kind of going viral again over on TikTok anyway. So Mary Phillips is a celebrity makeup artist, and she does this thing called underpainting, which I'm sure if you guys have watched YouTube and if you followed any other celebrity makeup artist, you may already know about this technique. But Mary Phillips really does incredible work. I've always loved everything that she creates, and it always looks so natural. And she recently shared on TikTok her technique, and products and all that. So everyone was starting to recreate it, and I decided, you know what? I think I've tried this type of a thing once when Scott Barnes taught everybody how to do this. But after seeing Mary Phillips and after hearing her specific products, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out for myself. So I tried it on my birthday and it worked. I really loved how my makeup turned out. I felt like my skin looked really contoured and defined in photos especially, but it wasn't over the top. So I wanted to sit down and show you guys, in case you haven't been aware of this technique, I wanted to show you what I did on camera and show you the final results because it really is cool how it ended up looking. So I've already prepped my skin. I decided to use just the Too Faced Hangover face primers as like a moisturizer type primer so that we're nice and hydrated before going into the first product. Mary starts out with contour. The idea behind this, and I've seen this in some of her other videos, I went down a rabbit hole one time, this was like a couple years ago, where I went and stalked every possible video on YouTube that she was in describing what she did with her makeup, or even just watching what she did if she wasn't talking about it. I tried to figure out what she was doing and what products she was using. And anyway, she has talked about before in another video, and I can't remember where, how she just really believes in doing the contour first because it's like the bones of the makeup. So you do the contour and the highlight and concealer and kind of create the structure of the face before, and then you put a light layer of foundation over the top. She actually, in her TikTok, uses this exact product, which I already am a huge fan of. So I was excited to see that she used it because I love this too. This is the Westman Atelier Face Trace Contour Stick. You obviously don't need to use this to do this look, but I wanted to use as many products as I could that were the same as hers, since I did have quite a few. So we're gonna start by applying this underneath the cheekbones. And you know what? I should probably do exactly what she does. It does not look like she puts it directly on the face. It looks like she takes it on a brush, now that I'm watching the TikTok back. So I'm just gonna start to sculpt the face with the contour stick. This is the ColourPop F31 brush. She also kind of applies it to the forehead area. So I'm just like taking this directly from the product and then just lightly building it around the face. She also takes it right here, it looks like, on the edge of the eye, which is kind of interesting because I don't always do that with my contour, but you can see it kind of creates a lifted face effect. I don't know, I was just really impressed with how this turned out because I guess with Scott Barnes, he uses a lot more makeup, so I think I've tried the method before, but this one is much more sheer and you still get a really, really nice result. So she also goes along the jawline, which I'm gonna do. And then she takes a smaller brush to trace down the nose. So I'm kind of like scribbling that back and forth. And she also goes right up into the brow area here, like this, all the way down and around. Okay, so I'm just looking in a mirror that's kind of further away from me to just make sure I've got the basics of the structure of my face down. She actually takes a different brush, and I don't have all the same brushes that she uses, but she took a different brush, kind of buffed everything out. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this is a brush that does not have contour on it, just to kind of further blend all the products. Okay, so we've got a nice basic structure on the face with contour. Okay, so now that we have that nice and blended out, the next step she says is she uses an Rcma highlight. And I can't figure out for the life of me if she's talking about like a highlight palette like this or an actual highlighter, because it kind of looks luminous in the TikTok, but I'm gonna kind of make up my own situation here because I don't know if it's an actual highlight or not. So I'm gonna create like a luminous concealer by taking the lightest shade in my Rcma palette. This is more of a concealer palette. And I'm gonna mix that with an RMS luminous highlighter. This is just a cream highlight. So we'll see how this works. I can't figure out like what exactly she uses for this. So we're just making it up as we go. But she takes that and kind of applies it right in this area here and then kind of goes out like this. She doesn't put it up close to the eye, so I'm not going to. I'm just kind of brightening up this area. And it also looks like she brings it in toward the nose right here, like in the center part of the face. She also works that down the center of the nose. And she creates more of a stark line underneath the jaw by brushing some of that product underneath the contour. Now I'm just personally, out of my preference, taking this up around the brows a bit, right here. And then she takes her NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer and applies that underneath the eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply the concealer right under the eyes. So it's kind of interesting how she uses concealer just underneath the eyes and then creates even more of a brightening effect with something lighter in those other areas. When I did this technique the other day, I actually didn't do it this precise. It's looking even better than it did before. So now she takes a sponge and just goes over and blends all of that out. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so we should be left with something like this. Definitely has a lot more structure than what I'm used to over top of makeup, but that's what we want for this next step. So this next part is the fun part, I guess. She takes a Chanel foundation, which I don't have, the Chanel Vita Lumiere foundation, and a small fluffy brush. So I need to find kind of a smaller fluffy brush. Let me see. I think this one would do the trick. This is a tapered highlight brush from Anisa Beauty. I'm going to use the Iconic London Super Smoother Blurring Skin Tint. I looked into the Chanel foundation and it's like more of a tinted moisturizer type product, which this is. When I did this, I actually used my Pat McGrath foundation because it's a really sheer one. And one time I remember Makeup by Ariel saying that that's what he uses on most of his clients, so I just tried it. But I wanted to try more of a skin tint to match what Mary Phillips does, so I'm just loading the brush with that skin tint, and we're just gonna kind of go over top. So I'm just kind of like letting the product fall in the areas that I want more coverage first. And then it actually looks like she kind of goes in and really buffs this into the cheeks. Like she's buffing it really intensely, but it doesn't look like the brush has a lot of pressure applied to the face, if that makes sense. So I'm just lightly but aggressively buffing the foundation over top of the contour. And you can see how it's starting to blend everything together. It's making everything look way more natural. Now this is not necessarily part of her routine that she showed anyway, but I always like to take my sponge and just press over everything. Isn't that cool though? Already you can see how the structure of the contour is still there, but it moves in and out of the foundation now so seamlessly to where you can't really tell where the makeup starts and stops, which I think looks really, really nice and natural. Next up, she takes the Nudestix Sunkissed bronze color. This is like a blush. I'm gonna just kind of warm that up on the back of my hand and pick that up on a little brush. She uses a lot of very fluffy brushes, I've noticed. She applies this color more toward the outside of the cheeks. So I'm gonna layer that in right here. And she even takes what's left and applies it right here to the forehead. So I am going to do the same. And then she takes the Westman Atelier blush in the shade Petal, which I don't have. I have the shade Couchette, and she takes that, which is a little bit more pink. So I'm actually gonna kind of switch gears and use the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk blush in the shade Pink Pop. I'm gonna get some of this out on my hand because this is kind of more the color that I want on my cheeks. So I'm just gonna take that same blush brush, pick up that product, and she puts this more toward the front of the cheeks like this and across the nose. So again, I'm just gonna take my sponge. This is not something that she shows, but something that I do. I always have to use a sponge. I'm just pressing all of that in. And that's basically it. What I also did, because I've watched and observed and stalked Mary Phillips, trying to figure out her technique before she showed any of this. This was for years I've tried to do this. I noticed in a video that I did find that she actually does go back in, and probably before blush, honestly, but that's okay because I was just trying to follow the TikTok. But she takes a little bit more contour. I watched her step back and assess the situation and just kind of add a little more contour to certain areas. She went back and forth, just lightly building layers. So I'm adding a little bit more contour where I want it, just the same exact one. And then I'll take my foundation brush again, whatever's left on it anyway. I didn't add any more product, and I'm just kind of buffing everything together. I'm going over the blush to make sure that that's super blended. Doesn't that look so good though? So now we just get to finish up the makeup. She didn't show anything else after this, but I of course like to set my face and things like that. So I'll show you guys what I personally did. This is not necessarily her method by any means, just something that I like to do myself. So I'm gonna take my Huda Beauty powder. Let's use the shade Cupcake today. And I'm just gonna take that on a little Huda Beauty puff, this little teeny one, it's so cute. And I'm just gonna press this into the under eye area. I saw in another one of her videos, I'm telling you guys, I have watched her Instagram stories and any other content that I can find of her for years. And I've seen her use like a damp sponge to press powder into the skin, which maybe I could have done to keep it more Mary Phillips-esque, but I'm really into these little teeny puffs. So I'm just gonna use that to set the under eyes and the nose a bit, the smile lines and the chin. I also like to kind of pat the forehead and over the brows. Okay, next I'm just gonna fill in my brows. I'm just gonna use the Anastasia Brow Definer in medium brown. Okay, and again, this is not necessarily Mary Phillips approved, but on my birthday, this is what I did with my eyes. I just took this MAC single shadow in the shade Omega, and I used this to contour the eye. Then I'm gonna put that along the lower lash line as well. And then I took the MAC Costa Riche pencil and I lined the top outer portion of my eyelid with this, and then took a brush and just smudged that out up against the lash line. I also applied it in between the lashes on that outer third of the lower lash line and just blended that out with the same brush. And then I took it and it went through the waterline as well. Can you believe it? I wore eyeliner on my birthday. Who am I? But honestly, after doing that one look, the smoky eye for Valentine's Day look, which I'll have linked down below, I really liked how eyeliner looked, especially on camera. So I wanted to try like a little bit of a softer version on my birthday. So that's what I did. After that, I applied the Bodyography glitter pigment in the shade Stratus. I love this shade so much, and I just feel like it feels like a birthday party to me. So I just applied this all over the lid using my fingertip. And then I'm just gonna apply some mascara. Let's use the Rare Beauty mascara today. And I'm just gonna apply that to the top and bottom lashes. Okay, and then I know that Mary Phillips uses a lot of Pat McGrath lip products. Sometimes it's because Pat McGrath will sponsor like a look she does, but I wanted to use Pat McGrath's lip liner in the shade. Let's see, I actually bought this because Mary Phillips used it. This is the shade Structure. I'm just gonna line the lips with this. And then I know this is extra, but I'm gonna use a Tom Ford lipstick that I also bought because Mary Phillips used it. This is Tom Ford Sable Smoke. I'm just gonna apply that to the center and then blend it out with my finger. I'm just taking what's left on the contour brush and kind of running that down the center of the neck, just so that the contour doesn't look just like a line across my jawline. I want it to blend down and look more cohesive. Okay, and then I'm just gonna set the face. I actually really liked this. I used this the other day, the Thrive Causemetics Instant Makeup Fix Setting Spray. This is the part where I'm not sure if Mary Phillips uses setting sprays and stuff. I'm sure she does, but this is just me finishing up the makeup look. I like to press the setting spray in with my sponge. And then I'm gonna set my brows with the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. And then just out of personal preference, I feel like I need a little bit more blush, so I'm just taking what's left on the blush brush and just applying that to the apples of the cheeks. Okay, so that completes this makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me try out the Mary Phillips underpainting technique. What do you guys think? I feel like it turns out so seamless. It definitely feels like a little bit out of my comfort zone in the beginning, but I feel like once you kind of get the hang of the placement on yourself, it's actually something that could be used every day if you wanted to. I think the key here really is when it comes to a foundation, using something a little bit more tinted so that you can still see the structure underneath. And then using fluffy brushes seems to be the key as well to really be able to buff all the products together without wiping them out of place. I think that's the two things that I realized are the most important, because you can use all sorts of contour products, whatever your favorites are, and your favorite concealer and whatever to do this technique, but I feel like a sheer foundation and a fluffy brush really does make a big difference in the overall end result. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me try it out. Let me know in the comments if you've tried this, if you've seen it all over TikTok, because I feel like everyone's kind of trying out this method and I think it's fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you hadn't seen the method, maybe you learned something new today. Let me know if this is something that you feel like will stick in your routine. I don't know. I feel like it's something that I want to keep practicing and trying different products with and seeing what products I like to use with this method, because I did try to follow, you know, Mary's exact product recommendations. But again, you can do this with whatever you have. So I'm excited to keep trying it with other things and see, you know, how it looks with certain products. Let me know if there's other techniques that you see out there that you would like to see me try here on my channel, because I'm really enjoying kind of getting out of my comfort zone a little bit and switching up my routine here and there. I feel like it's becoming more inspiring, even though it's like intimidating at first. I feel like it's fun to just keep learning new methods, new techniques, and trying new things out on myself. So let me know if there's something else you want to see me try. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will have her original video linked down below in case you want to watch it and see for yourself, but I really enjoyed doing this on camera. And again, I feel like it just looks so natural. And in pictures too, that's what I noticed. I looked back at pictures from like my birthday and I was like, wait, I feel like my skin looked really nice. And there's still definition, but it's not like an obvious contour. So I really like that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.